If you're looking for on-the-spot interactions, that's again that speed type stuff. So you might have shown up somewhere, maybe you're joining a course, maybe you're outside the front and someone famous has just come down the stairs, or you've had an opportunity to have a chat to someone, or perhaps you've just had a great idea that you'd love to share with your tribe. Then again, your phone can work really well with that.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, that is a roundup of cool online tools, and that brings us through to the part of the session that I have been looking forward to, and that's how to make far better videos. I am a prolific video creator. I would say by no means am I an expert at the production of it all. So I'll probably get more out there and than worrying about the production of it, but I'd like to get better at that side of things because it does make a real impact. So today we have Craig Leith here to come and talk to us about how to make engaging video with a phone, and when you should consider, when to use the phone and when to use, professional video production. So they're two ends of the scale. For those that don't know Craig, he is a professional filmmaker. He's a visual storyteller. And not only that, he has had years and years online as well too, helping craft courses and helping people with their online, content and presence, particularly in communicating with education. So he's got a vast, broad experience of it. The great thing about that there is that he's able to bring his filmmaking skills into the online space and really help with advice around all that. He has been known to build websites and build membership sites and all that sort of thing as well too. So he is multi-talented. But he has worked with events. So if you see people filming events at the back of the room, this is the guy that does that sort of thing. He's got so 3, 4, 5, 15 cameras all around, sort of taking various different angles. He's got leads running all around the room there to ensure they capture high quality sound. Then he goes back to a studio and produces some pretty awesome stuff as well too. Great thing about it is that Craig's happy to share some of his knowledge with how to do that there and how to use your own devices as well to produce some pretty good stuff with what you've got in your pocket. So it is my pleasure to welcome here Craig Leith. So let's give Craig a big round of applause as he steps on the virtual stage.
Thank you, Nick. That glow, I didn't know who you were talking about there, but yeah, I've got a long, varied set of things that I've done. What springs to mind for me is jack of all trades, master of none. I'm sure, that phrase rings true for a lot of people that are in business, because often what we need to do is we need to figure out ways of doing a number of things. We don't always have the ability to bring in other people to help out. So in the video space tonight, I'll be talking about some stuff around things that you can do and should be doing with your phone. It's not an either or. There are definitely times when you should be using your phone, and there are other times when sometimes a bit of distance can actually make all the difference, especially if you're doing stuff where you're trying to create that more professional image. As Nick mentioned, courses, that kind of thing. Often it does make sense to bring other people in to kind of help out. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and kind of jump straight into it. So hopefully everyone can see that. I now need to pull Zoom back. Just give me a sec. Gotta love it. Love technology. I can't see anything else other than my screen share. Is it actually coming up okay? I can't even see people's faces. Coming for all right?
Yep, that's looking good, Craig.
Sorry, I'm going to need some audio feedback because unfortunately I've got 0 for whatever reason. I was actually getting into Zoom, but it's now kind of died on me. Love it.
Yep, can see your slide, so that's all good.
No, that's now died. Be worth the wait, promise. Okay, yeah, I'm back as well. So hopefully people can see my slide now, can see everything.
Not quite. We can see you. Our slides coming up now. Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to need audio feedback, unfortunately, for whatever reason. My PowerPoint has now grabbed the screen. So literally what I've got is the presentation and no other feedback other than audio feedback. So please,
Awesome.
if you could just pipe up, that would be great.
Yep, can see your slides. Yep, see your slides there, Craig.
Okay, brilliant. Great, thank you. So I live on the Gold Coast, hence the logo. That's our sandy beaches that we've got here. And, the focus is all about trying to help people get into that flow state. Because flow, as a lot of people know, is where you're comfortable, where you're happy to kind of keep going. And sometimes, you can spend hours doing things that you really, really enjoy. And it's that kind of stuff that we're trying to bring to people when they're filming. We really are all about helping small businesses create video that generates sales. So just tying into something that Colin was talking about earlier, it's no good if you've got a whole bunch of videos and they don't actually help you actually make the sales that you're looking for. You're not actually creating these videos just because. You're creating them because you have an end in mind. So what I'm going to do tonight is kind of look at the two different aspects that we spoke about. Just about the door prize, Nick mentioned that earlier. What it is it's a sting. So a sting is a professional video or a little piece of video, if you like. It's generally only about 3 seconds long, but goes at the end of your other videos. But even when you're busy shooting stuff yourself on your own camera, you can actually then add a sting in, and it just kind of lifts the level slightly. And a lot of it is about brand recognition and helping people kind of remember you and what it is you've been talking about. So just in case some people are going, what are you talking about? Here's an example of a few stings that should, no sound on these, but there's the second one. So as you can see, they're really, really quick. And it depends on what you're looking for. Here was one that was dual branded. And this one was for an accounting firm that actually works with childcare centers. So they wanted a little bit of that child stuff as well as the accounting stuff coming in. One of my favorites is a guy that I work with who calls himself the bank fee assassin. So just putting together a sting can certainly help get your message across. So that's what's in store for whoever gets the prize at the end, is a sting that we actually take your logos, your tagline, your whatever, and we kind of wrap that around it. So hopefully that is something that, even if you don't win the door prize, something that you'll kind of look at doing for yourselves, because it really does make a difference. So the big topic that we're looking at here is, should I use a professional or should I do it myself? And often people are making this decision based on cost alone. So they just go looking at it and go, oh, those video guys, they charge an arm and a leg. And, do I really need to have that kind of stuff? And the answer often is no, but sometimes it is actually yes. So what I've got on the screen there is two bits really. One is where you go into a studio and you've got all the lights and, the cameras, and they're busy beaming things at you. They've got multiple cameras running. The sound is professionally set up, or perhaps they're kind of coming out to where you are. And obviously on the right-hand side, there's some dude holding his mobile phone, and he's going to do all of it in his phone. Now, you can't actually do all of it in your phone, but there is a lot of stuff that you can do in your phone. So phone video is best when you're wanting to get that casual conversational content going. When you're wanting to really bring through authenticity, then using your phone is a really, really good way to go. It's also really good for when you're doing social media reels, so short form content, that 15, 90-second type stuff. Again, your phone excels at that kind of thing because you can get it out there, you can get it out there super fast. If you're looking for on-the-spot interactions, that's again that speed type stuff. So you might have shown up somewhere, maybe you're joining a course, maybe you're outside the front and someone famous has just come down the stairs, or you've had an opportunity to have a chat to someone, or perhaps you've just had a great idea that you'd love to share with your tribe. Then again, your phone can work really well with that. So speed, as I said. If you've got a single purpose in mind and you're just trying to get that one snippet through, then a phone can work really, really well. Professional video, on the other hand, is best when You're looking for clear and concise messaging. So often what we see is we see people that are saying a lot of things, but they struggle to pull the message down. And what's interesting is even though I work in video, when I find myself on the front of the camera, I kind of suffer from the same sort of stuff. And having somebody that can actually look at it and assist you with it means that they can get the messaging right for what your audience would be interested in. Because sometimes what happens is, as professionals, we get all caught up in what we think is great. Look, there's a B-52 and it does a type thing. Most of your customers don't care. And a professional video organization can actually help clear that away and focus on what's most important for your customer. If you're needing to do multicam type things, so multicam interviews or podcasts or vodcasts, if you like, then getting a professional in can certainly help. Doing that on your phone can be difficult. One way that people typically do that is they do it through Zoom, and then they pull together the Zoom video afterwards. But unfortunately, the quality of what you're going to get on Zoom is often down a level. And if you're trying to get those multiple camera angles and look at things from different perspectives, then you need to have somebody who can pull that stuff together. Repurposing content. And it was really great to sort of see that Opus clip. It's something that I haven't worked with before, and I will go and check it out. But repurposing content is often something that we're wanting to do. Now, if you get a professional in, they can take something that has been shot one way, and then they can actually split it up, chop it into a number of bits, and actually assist you to get that out across multiple channels. So you can break it down, you can have transcripts, you can change landscape video into portrait view video, and there's a number of things that you can do with it. If you're wanting to have a strategy that's tied into your brand and a specific look or a specific feel about your business and about what you offer, then again, bringing a professional in can really help with that. It's not just a case of kind of throwing together a quick video and just saying, yeah, let's just pick this up. I'm sure this will be okay. Even when you clean it up from a technical perspective, does it actually talk to who you are and what you truly represent? So if, for example, you're trying to generate a sense of fun and be fun, well, do your videos reflect that? Or have you just been out there kind of getting the technical details? And again, this is where a professional firm can actually assist you. Lastly, but definitely not least, is when you don't have the time. So if anybody here has done a lot of editing or a lot of filming, you'll know that it does take a fair amount of time to repurpose that content, to put your captions in, to kind of set it up. Now, we're getting a lot of AI tools that are helping speed up the process, but it's still a fairly time-consuming part of what you do. Now, marketing, of course, is critical to our businesses, and if you can kind of win back some of that time, that can certainly help. And it doesn't always have to, it's not always equivalent in terms of cost. So you can find that professionals are able to trim the time right down, but you might find that that actually is not at a significantly raised cost. So it's not as if you're going to be paying a whole lot more money to win back those hours. It will often be in your favor. Let's have a quick look at what I've listed as the 7 top mistakes that people make when they are busy shooting the video themselves. So one thing that I see, and what I'm going to do is try and build examples in as we go along. One thing that I see a lot of is people shooting in portrait mode. So portrait mode, if you can see my camera at the moment, although I know I've got, as Nick pointed out, I've got the blur set, but portrait mode obviously is this way around. Whereas landscape mode is when you hold your camera horizontally and you shoot it horizontally. It's really interesting when you see people doing that. It's kind of like they're shooting a group of people. Maybe there's 10 people that they're busy videoing, and they're trying to get them to bunch in. And then they put the camera in the mode that is going to make it harder for them, not easier. Shoot landscape where you can, and you'll see that makes such a difference. So here are a couple of examples that I've got. This is a friend of mine, and yes, I do have his permission. This is Tony, and he was busy playing his guitar at a local music club called Coast Acoustics. And I shot some video of him, both in portrait mode as well as horizontal or landscape mode. Now, just look at the difference of those shots. Now, okay, there's not much in it. If you look at the landscape one, you'll see that there's cables in there. The lighting is slightly different, and that's actually not because of the camera, because it was actually shot with the same camera. That's because of the lights that they're using as part of the music presentation. So the picture on the right seems to be clearer because it's just got a different light that's actually come up at that time than the picture that I've used on the left. But I'll show you why it is better to have the landscape than the portrait, because some people have heard this, but they haven't really considered, well, why? What's the deal with that? Let's look at what happens when you try to repurpose your content. So for most of us, when you're shooting stuff with your phone, you're going to want to use that in a few different ways. If you're only ever going to be using that content on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram, by all means, shoot it vertically, shoot it in the portrait mode, because that's all you're going to use, not a problem. But if you're planning and maybe that video does make sense to go somewhere else, then rather shoot it in the landscape or the horizontal format, because that image that I've put there, those little red lines, is what happens when you cut it down to the same size as you would need in the other format. So you can see the one on the left. If you cut that one down, you can see most of Tony there. I've kind of just clipped it off at the edge of his elbow, and okay, the head of his guitar is missing, but that's pretty much doing it. It's going in as deep as it needs to, and I haven't done any kind of zooming yet. So I haven't gone in any closer. Let's have a closer look at what that looks like. If you're busy turning that into portrait mode, the picture on the left is now what you actually would get out of your landscape mode. And I'll now resize it. And if you put it next to the other one, they're pretty similar. Okay, as I said, you've maybe lost a little bit on the right-hand side, but you could zoom in to kind of clear that up. But that's pretty much what you're going to be getting. Now let's look at it the other way around. So if you were shooting the horizontal mode, at least if you're shooting portrait, vertical, and you're planning on turning that into something that's horizontal, let's look at what happens. You get that bit. And then you take that bit, and I'm putting that side by side with the other piece, and this is what you end up with. And you might go, that's great, I love that, because look at how focused he is, whereas the other one, he seems to be further away. But what you can do, of course, is I can zoom into the other one, again, without any loss of quality, and I can bring up something that's looking pretty much the same. So what you're getting when you take vertical to horizontal is you're ending up missing stuff. Whereas if you do it the other way around, you'll find that it actually works out really well. So I'll just go back a piece, just go back a bit. The other thing that you might have is what happens if there were more players on the stage? So if you look at the picture on the left, there's an extra microphone there. And if someone else was now going to sit next to Tony and was going to sing as well, well, you've now got a problem if you have only been shooting this in vertical format, because you're not going to be able to get that person in unless you've got a separate camera, or unless you zoom out to the point where they're both going to look like little mice on the screen, as opposed to something where you've got that full format. So that's the main reason that the professionals are always going to suggest you shoot it horizontal and then convert it to vertical. The other thing is our TV screens, YouTube, link, anything that you're putting in email marketing, those all use horizontal video. So if you're planning on using any of those things, you would ideally want to be shooting it in that format. Okay, so that's portrait instead of landscape. Don't do that. Rather do landscape instead of portrait. Second thing that I see is people not using a microphone. And sometimes you can get away with that. And in fact, you'll see I've got a clip with that I'll show you where you can get away with it, and I'll show you how you can get away with it. But by and large, not having a microphone is not a good idea. And they actually don't cost that much. Well, obviously, the better quality ones cost more. And if you want wireless, that costs more too. But having a microphone will pay for itself in spades. If you were listening to Nick this morning, and I know he and I have spoken about this before, you can get away with pretty good, pretty okay video, so long as your audio is good. But if you've only got average audio, it doesn't matter how good your video is, people will actually move on because they can't hear what's going on. Or maybe you've put up captions on screen, which kind of deals with some of that. But if people are really interested, in a lot of cases, they will actually then go, okay, let me listen to what's going on here. And that lousy audio is going to turn them off. But I'll give you an example in a few minutes. Wearing hat and sunnies, please, please, please do not, and this is especially the guys, do not get out there and wear a hat and sunnies. People can't see your eyes. They can't see what's going on. And again, I'll have an example. Backlighting. So by backlighting, what I mean is this is where you have the situation where you're shooting your video and it's really bright behind you because your camera is smart enough to actually adjust the screen. So what it'll do is it will adjust the exposure. And what it does is it adjusts for what's going on behind you. And by doing that, it ends up darkening you so that when people look at you, you now just look like a big silhouette, as opposed to, you know, if you had decent lighting behind you, that would certainly help. So you want to try and keep that lighting as even as you possibly can. Background. And by background, this is different to the backlighting. This is about what's behind you. Because sometimes what happens is we're not always aware of what we got in shot because we're only looking on a little screen. But when you kind of blow it up and you look at it in a little bit more detail, you kind of go, oh, okay, there was a dog busy doing its business behind me, or there was someone busy, doing something that just seemed untoward. We call it photobombing for a reason, because in a lot of cases, it ends up ruining your video. Yeah, sure, you can get some really fun photobombing. And if that's your intention, then great. But again, because it's your intention, you've probably chosen that background for a purpose. Again, some examples coming up. Not acting is on the one end of the spectrum, and the other one is babbling. So by not acting, what I mean with that is the camera, for whatever reason, doesn't get your emotions as deeply as someone would if you were talking to them face to face. That level of intensity just isn't there. So what you need to do is learn to overact. You need to learn to kind of pour more and inject more into what it is you're busy doing and saying. And the camera will then kind of tone that down a little bit, and you'll come across as pretty good. On the other side, what we end up with is a lot of people end up babbling. And especially if you're not using a teleprompter, or you haven't prepared your stuff properly, or maybe this is your first take, you end up babbling. And by babbling, I just mean you have these run-on sentences, you talk a load of nonsense that your audience is not necessarily interested in, and maybe that's okay as you're busy setting it up. And the best thing you can do then is hit the stop and restart and kind of take it again. Because as you go through a number of takes, you'll find that you end up trimming it down to something that is really, really useful. The last one that I've got is no stability. And what I mean by no stability is if you're just holding a camera, if that's all you've got in front of you and you're just holding the camera, the problem with that is you're not going to be as stable as you think you are. You're going to try and hold it still. And the more zoomed in you are, the worse it's going to be, and the more screen shake there's going to be. So getting some stability can actually help. And again, I've got some answers to actually assist people with this stuff. So first of all, the video that I'm showing here is about filming at the pool, if you like, and hopefully you can see some of that coming through. What a great place. Wouldn't you want to head down there, and this is the pool in our complex, wouldn't you want to head down there and shoot some cool video? I'm sure you could. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some bits and pieces of actual content that I've shot using my phone. So there's no professional photography in this. And in fact, you will be able to see that because you'll start picking holes in it. You'll start going, oh, hang on, your lighting's really foul here. But let me take you through it, and you'll see the bits and pieces that I've focused on here, starting off with your microphone. And again, if anyone can't hear the video as I press play, please let me know. Hey everyone, Craig here, just with a couple of quick tips on what not to do when you're filming. So here, for example, I am not using a microphone, I don't have anything attached. I'm about 1 meter away from the phone. I'm going to move further away. I'm now about 2 meters away. This clip, by the way, will run for around about 12 minutes. It's going to pull up several of those elements. I'm about 4 or 5 meters away now. If I get down, the phone at the moment thinks that the water source and my voice are exactly the same. And it's really going to be struggling to pick the audio up. Never mind what's happening visually. Let's move this to over here. All right, that's already going to be better. So here what you can see is I've now taken the microphone off. I'm about 1 meter away from the phone. I'm going to get in a little bit closer. I'm now about 500 to 600 mils away from the camera, and I'm now about 500 or 600 millimeters away from the camera, and you can probably hear my voice okay, even though there are other things going on in the background. So for example, if you listen, you can hear the sound of the water. You can probably hear the sound of the pool engine. So not necessarily a great place to be filming. It might look okay visually, but it's playing havoc with the sound. So let me move back I'm now about 1 meter away from the microphone in the camera, and I'm going to keep moving back. So here I'm like 2-3 meters away, 4 meters away. My face is now in the sun. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm now about 5 meters away. I'm going to climb up here, about 6 meters away. There we go. Make sure that I don't fall off the edge. I'm now about 8 meters away from the microphone. There's all sorts of sounds that are going on, and you probably can't hear my voice properly. I'm going to try now on the other side of the pool. So stick with me. Here we go. The tech does work. So I'm on the other side of the pool now. Between the microphone and myself is the water source, so the splashing is probably coming through really loud. Moving even further, I'm now probably about 15 meters away from the microphone. Here I'm now about 20 meters away from the microphone. We'll even try this, I'm now about 30 meters away from the microphone. Quite a lot today. And about 2 meters away, I'll get down about 2 meters away, talking directly into the microphone. As you can see, not a great result. Not a great result all around. Now let's try it. Now let's try it with the microphone. Hey, that was actually supposed to last a little longer, but I know that we're going to run out of time if I kind of keep going. That gives you a good idea of in terms of the microphone and what you can certainly do with it. I've got some other bits that I'll kind of focus on as well, but let's have a look at stability very quickly. So if you look at stability, here's a shot of me holding a phone, busy taking some footage. Just notice when you look at it, my elbows are out. Okay, you can't quite see the elbows. Obviously, I'm sort of focused on the screen. But you think you're doing stuff that is nice and stable at that point, and often you're not. Far better for you to lean up against a post. So find something like a tree or lean against a wall or something that way. And what you're doing is you're just stabilizing your left arm. And by stabilizing your left arm, you'll find that it gets that much better. If you want to take it one step further, you can actually go ahead and rest the phone directly against whatever it is you had your arm on just a second ago. So here, for example, I've got the phone right against the side. Yes, obviously the camera is still open, but that means that I'm getting something that is totally vertical, and it's an easy way to stabilize things. Another way to stabilize things is just bring your elbows in. So if I go back to that first shot, it's as simple as being able to take your elbows and rest them against your body. So kind of pull them in. And by doing that, you're creating another pivot point, and that then also does help. It's never going to be as stable as if you're using a tripod, but it's certainly going to assist you to keep the shot more stable. Let's have a quick look at professional video now. So if you're looking at professional video, it's best for when you're busy doing website promotional things. So if you're wanting something that's professional and you're wanting to put that onto your website, then yeah, a professional video is the way to go, because what it can do is it can show you in your best light. This is not about being quick and short. This is about kind of showing what it is you do and create that look and feel that you're wanting. An event, if you've got an event that's coming up and you want to film the event, especially if it's a big hall, you need to be able to zoom in and see what people are writing on flip charts. You need to be able to change microphones for different speakers. So if you've got an event that's coming up, that's the kind of thing where we or any other professional video outfit can actually assist, because they will have multiple cameras, multiple microphones, lenses are able to zoom in tighter. You saw on that previous shot, there's no zooming in further than what kind of was happening on the other side of the pool. And it starts becoming really silly, because if you're trying to do anything at a distance, you just can't. You can also only take your zooming capability so far. If you try to zoom in further than what your camera is able to do optically, and you try to go in a whole lot deeper, well, that's going to create problems because digital zoom ends up pixelating things. And again, at an event, this is something that professionals will be able to do to a high quality. Creating online training programs, as we spoke about, and close-ups, that's that telephoto type capability. So here's a few examples that I will run you through. So here's a website promotion, and this is for a company that we recently worked with. They're an accounting company, and their focus is the childcare industry. And what they were looking for was something that they could put on their websites. So this is not meant for socials. This is meant to be something that then assists to get their message across to their potential clients.
The greatest asset in our organization is the team. We are in the service industry. It's people doing business with people. So we ensure that your business continues, it doesn't stop. In order for us to provide that, we need to ensure that we have qualified team members here and also someone with great attitude. Every one of us get along fantastic. We come together, we celebrate our work anniversaries, we celebrate our birthdays. I'm very, very proud of the team we have here.
My name's Lisa. I've been at Accounts Advantage for 6 years. We predominantly look after childcare centres. We have a client base of about 70. We are bookkeeping specialists for the childcare industry.
By making sure that the staff are paid correctly, they don't have to worry about anything other than going to work and doing what they love.
Someone needs to look at the numbers and say, hey, you're making money here, or did you know that you're actually losing money? And that's why you need that trusted advisor or trusted partner who can kind of look at the numbers and also take you onto the journey, because yes, you're starting one center, but eventually most of our clients, they start with one, they have 2, 3, 4, and our highest client has got 14 centers. The next has got 9 centers. So it's obvious that no matter where you start, you're gonna grow. And for you to grow the business as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you need that numbers to speak the story, to tell the story. And that's why you need that trusted advisor.
So when it comes to payroll, we handle the paid parental leave, the work cover, payroll tax, all the complexities that come with that is all handled by us. Oh, and we do superannuation as well.
Now, depending on what you're looking for, you might go, oh yeah, that doesn't necessarily matter to me because I'm not looking for an accounting organization. But for their clients, here they've now got something that is about 2 minutes, a little bit longer than that perhaps, that sits on their website and that actually tells the story the way they want it told. So they're not leaving too much of it to chance. And you can also hear when Krish is busy talking, English, his English is great, but there's some choices of words that maybe you or I would possibly do differently. And that's probably due to his upbringing and what he's done and the fact that he is an accountant. I mean, he's a great speaker. And what we've managed to do is capture that authentically. So this isn't about, going, oh, let's whitewash that away. It's about leaving that authenticity in there and then also making it clear that people can get what they need from this particular organization. And that then obviously inspires or generates sales from their perspective. So that's an example of a website promo. And there's heaps that we've got and heaps that other organizations will have as well. What about events? So again, quick event promo. So this comes from an event that was run last year. I've done a few since then, but this one was super sharp, super quick. So I thought I'd just play this quickly. Again, gives the perspective across of multiple cameras and what you can do in that setting.
Thinking I'm an absolute machine, I'm immortal. And then, like Mike, I had a health wake-up call as well.
There are so few people that can survive on less than 5 hours. You are not one of them. That's a great assumption to make.
The expectation is they'll ring you in an hour and go, mate, you get my email. And so I've now had a culture change with clients too.
You're not any use to anybody else, let alone yourself, unless you've gone and satisfied a lot of your own stuff.
And I thought, this is I'm at the edge of the literature here. This is what we have. So why is this not working for some individuals?
You know, it's the old filling your own cup first. And we've been made to feel guilty about it.
Secret to life is the balance between stress and recovery.
What they call spiritual bypassing, which is an egotistical attachment thing. Yeah, I know that, I know, right? Are you it, and what are you doing about it, right?
All these bars are all at different brain frequencies that are coming out of my head in real time.
When you do the health and well-being journey, it's pretty selfish. It's a pretty selfish journey because most people around don't get it. They don't get why you want to do it.
The difference between a really good athlete and an average athlete is that the good athlete does enough but thinks they don't do enough. We're always trying to get better, and the average athlete doesn't do enough but thinks they are.
And now that I'm studying quantum medicine myself, I now have a better understanding of epigenetics and the role it plays in how our DNA expresses itself through our consciousness.
So that's just a snippet, but you get the idea. So that is filmed from the back of the room, multiple cameras, multiple microphones. And again, it makes sense to get somebody in. If you're just going to try and do that on your phone, it doesn't quite cut it. Courses. So I again got a snippet. It's only a few seconds long here, not a whole lot, but this is a group of people that they've created an online course around how to create an aircrete dome. So it's about building domes out of concrete and soap, basically. Now, I know I'm oversimplifying it and they'd probably be horrified, but here's just a quick snippet. And what I'm trying to show here is, again, you couldn't do this necessarily with your phone because you'll see the camera angles that are coming in, the quality of the audio that you've got, and all of those things do make a difference.
Lift together and come closer. Bend the knees, lift and pull. And we've got to make sure we lift the bottom of the container up as well, because quite often it gets left in the sitting down there and sitting in the aircrete.
Okay, that's super quick. I've only just given a snippet because I'm sure you don't need to read too much into how do you go about creating aircrete. But the multiple cameras allowed them to actually just go ahead and show what was going on in terms of creating the course. They just ran the course and we were there busy filming it as they were doing it. So it made perfect sense to then just take that and turn that into online content. As I said, close-ups when you need telephoto lenses, multiple perspectives. So like interviews. So as I said earlier, I'm really keen to check out that Opus clip to see what that's capable of doing with your phone. But in a lot of cases, you need multiple cameras if you've got multiple people that are being interviewed. And what I'm calling schmickness. And schmickness is really just a made-up word, if you like, about when you want to kind of lift your stuff to the next level. That's when you need to bring in somebody that knows how to do it. And it's not only the technical stuff. So I've spoken largely here about the technical stuff. But there's a whole heap of things around it as well in terms of creating the story, crafting that story to fit your brand, making sure that you're actually sending the messages that you need to send. Something that's going to resonate with your clients, something that's going to help you connect with your clients. And that's where you bring the professionals in. So I've left a few minutes for questions. I hope that was useful for people. And if it was, yes, we'll get into questions for in a second. I have got one favor that I'd like to ask though. I'm busy running an Instagram experiment at the moment. So on the page there, you can see my Instagram site. It's inflow.films. And if you could go in and please like, follow or comment, that would be brilliant. What I'm trying to do is look at how we can actually use video in Instagram specifically. So I've reset my Instagram account. And this will give you an example of what we've got. I reset it so it's only got, if you look up there, 29 posts. It hasn't been running for that long at all. And all the posts that I've done are about video, but very few of them actually are video. And again, what I'm busy doing is gathering some data from here. So this is literally a case of let's see what differences we get from putting some statistics and some quotes out there. And then let's see what difference we get when we actually start posting video. And that's the kind of thing that I want to share with people so that people can actually go, okay, I know video is important. We see all the stats telling us video is important, but here's some social proof. Here's some stuff where we actually have tested it. So as I said, it's only 29 posts. That's a post a day. So I'm almost up to a month. And the idea is that at this point, I'm now going to move over to saying, hey, let's bring people in organically, which is why I'm asking you to like, follow, share, comment. And then let's also change it up so that we actually include more and more video so that it begins to be instructional and actually assist people as they're going along. So yeah, please, I'd love your help with this. If you could actually go to instagram.com/inflow.films, that would be brilliant if you could give me a like, a follow, or a comment. But now I'm sure people have got questions and I would love to answer them and talk about microphones. Let's talk about backlighting. Let's talk about some of the other stuff that we didn't cover off earlier. Shoot, I left time for questions, so don't disappoint me.
Okay, let's go. Ready for a question, mate?
Con, yeah, go for it.
Hi, mate. What's your view? There's a lot of people out there that are shy to get on video. So one of the things we're seeing at the moment is, again, with the beauty of AI, we're seeing the ability to use avatars for video. And whether it be your own voice or an avatar voice. I know to some extent Craig is probably eating into your business, and I understand that's natural. I suppose AI is here. We can't get rid of it. But if someone's to use an avatar in that approach, do you recommend it for certain situations, or just don't recommend it at all?
I tend to say don't use avatars, and the main reason. So let's just stick with avatars, because there's a couple of questions in there.
Yeah.
I tend to say don't use avatars, and the reason is, by the time you've kind of got the hair the way you want it and the face the way you want it and a couple of other things, there's still going to be a lot of other people out there that are going to look very similar to that. It's not you. And the other thing is, it doesn't have the same facial expression that you have. I'm sure the technology will get there at some point, but right now, what's happening is it's almost like, when people show their logo on their site, on their profile picture, and they don't actually have a picture of themselves, it's difficult to kind of go, oh yeah, who is this? Is this, there's enough scams out there as it is. It just puts up another barrier. And I think what we want to be doing is reducing those barriers. So I encourage people to find a photo that you like, or go to someone that can shoot a professional headshot for you, and then use that. Now, in video, you obviously, it's you. The best way to get past that fear that you were talking about is to just do it. You just do it. You film it, you film it again, and you film it again, and you don't have the intention of posting it. You just film it. And then one day, maybe it's a month down the track, you go, okay, I'm going to now start posting them. And you will absolutely hate it. I can almost guarantee it. The first time you hear yourself speak in video, and a lot of people here are already doing it, you go, is that how I really sound? I hate that. Is that how I really look? I hate that. And other people just don't see it. They just don't notice that stuff. The only one who's picking it up.
Same for voiceovers. Would you recommend using your own voice or voiceovers as part of the videos? Maybe yourself, and then as a B-roll, maybe having a voiceover.
Typically, I say an organization should use someone from the organization's voice. So like that clip that I showed earlier with Krish, it was nice to use Krish's voice and the voice of the people that were staff there. Because it does two things. It adds a little bit of pride in people, go, hey, this is about us. It also reduces costs, because getting good voice talent actually can be quite expensive. And again, it's about that authenticity. There have been times when I've used professional voice talent and they mispronounce some of the words. So you'll then need to go back to them and go, okay, you need to adjust this, because that's not how we say our product's name. Our product's name is said this way. That authenticity is something that comes out, but it doesn't have to be a talking head video. It can be something that then shows a whole lot of the B-roll and the other bits and pieces. But yeah, absolutely, I would use their voices wherever possible. If people are totally averse to it, sure, we can go ahead and use professional stuff. But what I found is there's a bit of a trick on my side, I suppose. I sit them down and I say, so tell me about it. Let's just sit you down. I'm going to put the camera on, and we kind of put the camera there. Tell me about what's going on. They're not even looking at the camera. The camera's over here on this side. They're having a conversation with me in my eyes. And because of that, they forget the camera's there. We have a conversation. And that's one of, I would argue, my superpowers, is actually help de-stress it so that people feel that they can talk. And then afterwards, when I play it back to them, once we've kind of cut it up, I mean, the video you saw earlier was horribly uncut. I was literally just going, here it is, all raw stuff, etc. But when you cut that stuff up and you clean it up, clients often say to us, wow, what kind of magic are you doing? And it's not. All we're doing is we're taking what they said over 20 minutes and we're compressing it into what was the most important thing in 1 minute. And that's really what it comes down to. But to answer your question, Con, I love to have people from the business's voices in it. It makes it authentic, it makes it real.
Thanks, Craig.
Craig, Paul Kennedy here. Could I ask a question as a video novice, but keen to get into it? I've never really understood how people record their videos without using a video stick. So take the one that you did where you were at the pool. Did you have your phone stuck on a video stick and you just walked backwards from there? And well, perhaps that's the first question. So, yep.
Effectively, yes. So the one that I use, again, it might not come up. Let's just sort of see. If I put it in front of my body, you should be able to see it. This is called an Osmo. And what it does is you can actually unfold it. It's got, you can't see that clearly, but it's got a little tripod that it can sit on. It also then becomes a selfie stick so that you can pull stuff out. Typically, what you're looking for rather than a selfie stick is a gimbal. So this is known as a gimbal. They cost about $220, $230 for a fairly decent one. But this particular one, so I was filming that alone. There was no one else busy filming me, but as you saw, the camera was moving around. So literally what I did is I plugged the camera onto the stick, set it up so that it's going to look at my face, and then I can move around. So even if I go to the other side of the pool, it's effectively going to follow me. Now, some people might have noticed it starts getting a bit juddery when you're getting into the distance. It's starting to go, well, what is it that I'm supposed to be focused on? But when you're up close, they actually can work quite well. One of the problems with them in a lot of cases is they will do this. They set your video so that you're only halfway up. Now, that's the kind of thing that you fix in post. Or with the Osmo, you can actually adjust it so you can bring yourself up so that you are more in line and you don't have as much head space. But to answer your first question, yeah, you get a gimbal and that can help smooth things out and make it that much better. Don't move as far away from it as I did. 8 meters, you got to be kidding. When would you be as far as 8 meters away from the thing that you're busy shooting? But, it might happen if you're greeting someone or you want to walk into the shot or whatever it is. Ideally, what you want is that you kind of you zoomed in as much as you need to be using optical zoom. Don't use the digital zoom. But yeah, I swear by using that stick when I'm using my phone.
Look, thank you for that. And an equally naive question, often see people doing videos and they're not holding the phone themselves, so it's on a phone, but they're walking, and I'm assuming that somebody else is actually holding the video. I've never really understood the practicalities of how people achieve that. Is that what they do? Do they have another person who's actually holding the phone and leading them? Is that what happens?
You can do it that way. Why you might not is that you're now involving another person. And as soon as you start involving another person, this becomes that much more complex. So yes, again, this kind of thing, what you can do is you just push out the selfie stick part and you can walk along and it'll do what you need it to. Other ways around it, let's say you're on a hike and you want you to capture that. GoPros are brilliant. Now, okay, it's not your phone, it's a GoPro, so it's a different piece of kit, but you mount that on the back of a hat and pointing back at the person who's walking forward. So now you've just got two people on the trail, one of them is busy talking, and the camera is facing effectively back at them all the time because it's placed on the person in front of them's hat. So that's one way that you can do that kind of thing.
So the names, just to make sure I've got the names right, so you've got Gimbal and Osmo and GoPros.
Yep. So, sorry, it's a bit jargony. So this is it's a piece of kit made by, I don't know if you can see that if I bring it up close, DJI. So they make drones as well, but it's called the DJI Osmo. And if you look up Osmo 5 or Osmo, I think we're up to Osmo 6 now. So they keep changing the design. You can pick them up from JB Hi-Fi for about $220, but it's a gimbal. And if you just ask for the Osmo, which is what it is, it's made by DJI. So yeah. The other piece of kit that I was talking about now is a GoPro. Now, they're a bit more expensive. They're around about $600 or $800, but it's an outdoor camera that gets rid of a lot of vibration, and the modern ones actually even send to the horizon, so it does all sorts of funky stuff.
That's great. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else?
Excellent. We've got Anthony's got his hand up, so.
Sorry, didn't see it there, Anthony. It's right over your sign, so.
Yeah. And it's brown as well. Skin color. So I've got a podcast and I do audio as well as videos as well. And when I'm doing video, because people are not in the same city sometimes, and also, you know, just doing it over Zoom. So you're right, the quality is not that great. So what options are there for, you know, really there isn't, really is there?
There's different tools that you can try. It starts getting interesting. So if you ask a couple of questions, first of all, is how much lead time do you have? And if, let's say, you've got a week or 2 weeks lead time, that can certainly help. What you can then do is you can actually arrange with this person beforehand. When we're on the podcast, I want you to record your audio yourself and allow them to go ahead and do that. That means you can set it up on their system so that they then, what you're getting through the mic, I mean, I'm actually using a mic, you can't really see it, it's out of shot, but it means that you're going to get the best quality possible. Or again, if you've got a couple of weeks, you can actually post them a mic if necessary, which they can then plug into another device. You're getting then better quality audio. The problem is you're relying on other people to do it. And then as soon as you rely on other people to do it, it doesn't always work out.
Yeah, because I've had a couple, or one or two where they've had like earphones, and the quality hasn't been that great. But I mean, I've got a proper RØDE mic here into USB. The other thing is, with my coaching, I do a lot of posting, like a lot of my reels or even Facebook lives I'll do on the beach while I'm walking, or like this morning I did one and I was actually sitting on the side on the grass and I just held the phone and did it. It seems to work fine and the quality's generally pretty good because I'm using a pretty decent iPhone. I also use my AirPods, but I have got a set of microphones and so on. But yeah, like, I mean, I guess when if you're doing something like that, you're not going to necessarily take a tripod and set it all up.
Well, that's kind of why I use this thing, because it doesn't use much space. So you can actually carry that with you. And that works out fairly well. If you are holding the phone, and you've probably done this already anyway, is for goodness sake, don't hold it down, because you end up then all the people can see is your nostrils, especially if you've got like mine.
I'm usually here.
So what you want to be doing is lift the phone up. It reduces some of what you got there, but your hand will get a little tired, but maybe that's what helps you keep to 90 seconds. So not necessarily a bad thing.
And lastly, for those that are like scared of getting on camera, for me, I've been a singer, I've done a little bit of acting, but when it came to actually speaking in front of the camera, I found it hard. So what I did this year was as a New Year's challenge, is I challenged myself to 31 Facebook Lives in my group, and I turned up every single day for 31 days. And from that moment, there's no fear. It's all gone.
Spot on. All it is it's about getting out there and doing it. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And then eventually you start going, hey, actually, this is all right. This is fine. Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. Do we have time for any others, Nick, or do you want to pick up? Because I know we're running close to the 7:30 mark.
We've got a hand up there from Cameron.
Cameron.
Hello. Thank you for the great presentation. Just a quick one. You mentioned like when to like do it yourself and when to get in a professional. Do you have any similar advice where you would still recommend doing it yourself, but you should use like a professional quality camera as opposed to like just your phone?
So that's often that sort of in between steps. So people are going, hey, I do want to do this myself. I still don't want to be bringing anyone else in. And yes, there's a number of cameras that you can actually start looking at. What happens is, and I've recently heard the term GAS. So don't have gas. And gas is gear acquisition syndrome, where what we end up doing is we just start getting a hold of gear. We go, oh, this is cool. Look at that. I've got a lot of film gear. Some of it I don't always use. So keep it simple, but let me try and answer your question. Find a camera, and it's probably going to cost you a couple of grand to get something that's decent. Find a camera that will do the kind of thing you're looking for. Because you're doing it yourself, it needs to have good battery life. It needs to have continuous autofocus, and you need to be able to attach a number of lenses to them. Start with that, and then just sort of see where you go to. The cameras that I use are Blackmagics. They're kind of the low end of the filming world, if you like. what makes them so good is they've got such a great color science, and the stuff really does look good when you're busy shooting them. The downside is lousy battery life, doesn't have continuous autofocus, and you've really got to need to know what you're doing. So there's a steep learning curve to get to the point where you're able to use it effectively. So simple is best. And to be honest, I'd be going with something like even a second generation. If you didn't have that kind of money, go for a second-hand GH6, which is made by Panasonic. It's got good image stabilization built in it. Sorry, a GH5, which is the previous iteration. So you'll find that that's cheaper. But that came out in about 2011, 2012. They've recently brought out the GH6, which has changed the science quite substantially. Now, the purists will tell you, oh, no, don't do that one. It's a micro Four Thirds camera, and you can hear geek speak begins to come out. Choose a camera that you like, a camera that actually works for you. There will be other people that say, oh, you've got to have a full frame camera. You must go for Canon. You must, whatever. Find something that works for you. I would just say good battery life, autofocus, and you must be able to attach lenses to it. And that would probably be sufficient. What you'll find is if you do start going down that track, you spend more on the glass, in other words, on the lenses, than you do on the camera body. And I've got a number of cameras, and my glass is probably worth 4 or 5 times the amount of the cameras. So I look after my lenses much more than I do look after the camera bodies, because they end up being so expensive. But do you need to go down that track? No, you could probably get one lens that'll do pretty good stuff. So let me just drop in. If you were to look for a single lens to take with your camera, you want something that can zoom in to a certain extent, but it doesn't need to be absolutely wild. I'd be going for something like 25 millimeters to around about 70 millimeters. Yeah, this again, you can hear geek speak beginning to come out, so I'll shut up now. Hopefully that helps, Cameron. Nick.
Excellent. We do have another question that's just in chat there from Jody. She's asking microphones. Any particular microphones you recommend?
So I use and love these. They're RØDE Wireless Go's. DJI also makes a set of mics. The reason I like these is they've got good sound quality. You can actually have 2 of them set up, and they don't interfere with each other. There's some clever tech actually happening inside of them. You can also just plug them in. So you would have seen me wearing them earlier. You just put it on and away you go. It doesn't have any leads or any stuff. If you do want to have leads, it has the facility to kind of plug a proper microphone in that you can actually hide. So you can do all of those kinds of things as well. But I swear by these. It's called a RØDE Wireless Go. Price point, I think the last time I looked at it, about $350 per mic. So to get a pair of them, you're probably looking closer to the 500 range. For a lot of people, that's going to put them off. If you're just wanting one mic to kind of get going with, don't go for the bottom end, the $20, $30 stuff. Go up a level. Technica makes one that's not too bad. It's got a lead, but it's a lead that's about 2 meters long. You can plug that into the bottom of your phone, and that'll cost you about $70. So it's a case of you get what you pay for. Hope that helps, Jody.
Excellent. Well, I think that's probably gets us towards the end. That's a run out of questions. So in that view there, if anyone does have any other questions or do wants to contact you and have a chat with you, what's the best way to do that?
Probably email, text me, or by all means hit me up on Instagram, seeing as that's the thing that we're busy trying to do at the moment. I might just pop my email address in the chat. But yeah, by all means, flick me an email. If you go to my website, if you want to have a longer conversation, if you go to my website, you can click a link. It'll set up a meeting similar to what you would do in Calendly that you were talking about earlier. So if people want to have a conversation, happy to do that and help you write if you didn't get enough.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, I know there's a whole lot of good information in there from Craig this evening. So thanks very much for sharing your wisdom and some of those tips there, which I'm sure people will find helpful. Yes, the thank yous are coming through in on chat as well too.
You're most welcome. As I said, hopefully that was useful. Yeah.
Now you do have a door prize tonight as well, which you mentioned at the beginning. So do you want to tell us just a bit more about that?
As I said, it's a sting. So a sting is something that what will happen is, so if you win the door prize, because no one else cares, if you win the door prize, then basically what I'll want from you is your logo. I'll also send you a bunch of templates that you can look at to go, oh, what kind of sting do I like? and then we will put together a sting for you. Obviously, you can have a look at it. What music would you like in it? Ideally, it's going to be sort of 3 to 5 seconds long. But once you've got that, you can then attach it to the end of any of your videos. You could put it into whatever editing software it is you're using, and kind of just drop it on the end. In fact, you can even do it in Canva. So you can bring up 2 bits and pieces. So you got your video, drop the other piece in, and away you go. So it's a sting to professionalize your brand and let people remember who you are.
Excellent. All right. Well, we do have our special way of drawing that with our wheel of names. So we will bring that up. Everybody's name is in here. And when we do spin it, then where it lands is the person's going to win. And of course, if you've left the room, well, you won't know that you've won it unless some kind person here lets you know that you did win it. But we go through and redraw it again. All right. So let's spin that wheel. And give us a virtual drum roll on your desk in front of you. And the winner is Colin Mackey. Actually, Colin's had some of your expertise before, hasn't he?
He has. So he probably, I don't think we actually did a sting, and certainly not for his current business. So this might work really well for him.
Fabulous. Excellent.
Thank you very much, guys. And yes, you did a sting for me before and it was brilliant. So I need another one, Dan. So perfect timing.
Perfect
Thank you
timing.
very much.
Excellent,
Thank
Colin.
you.
Yeah, you've got my email address. Just flick me a note,
Yep.
and then we'll set up something from there. It'll be good to chat as well.
Okay, thank you.
I was going to say we'll introduce you, but as you do know each other, then we'll leave it over to you both to connect with each other. Excellent. Well done. Well, of course, this here, we will pop this up into YouTube tomorrow. So if you know anyone else that would benefit from this or would like to see this, feel free to point them in that direction or share it with them. If you do want to watch it again, just to pick up some of those tips that Craig has brought to you tonight, then it'll be up there probably around about tomorrow afternoon. So if you go there, click on the subscribe button. There's a little bell that appears beside the subscribe. If you click that bell, then you'll get a notification to let you know that that video is there. Now's a good time to save the chat. So all of those online tools and apps that are in there, and also the links to YouTube, to Craig, and some of those other things that he said, all in chat there as well. Craig's got something else to say.
Yeah, Nick, I have got a longer version of the video that I put in there that's got a number of other tips in there about lighting and other things as well. So happy for you to put that up as well, and people can access that. So good excuse to kind of get people to kind of get into it online. But if anyone's interested, there's a lot more tips in the extended version. But as you can see, we were kind of running out of time. So
perfect. If you shoot that through to me, then yeah, happy to use that one and pop that one up as well. So yeah, that means there's a little bit extra there for everyone that goes back and has a look at it as well too. Awesome. Thanks, mate. Oh, so I should say, to save the chat, for those that don't know, there are 3 little dots in the chat box. For some of you, it'll be at the bottom. For others of you, it'll be on the top right. They have moved things around a bit, so depending on which version of Zoom you're on, click on that. It'll bring up a save link. And after you've saved it, there will be a link there to where you saved it to. So if you're quick enough, if you click on that, that'll take you through to the location that you've saved it. All right, well, that's our session for tonight. Let's give Craig a rousing round of virtual applause. Thank you very much for sharing with us tonight. And for everyone that's here, we'll be back here, same time, same place next week. Go and have a good night, and look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nickcree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.